All right, to graph this sine function, the first step that I like to do is to factor that out. So this would be rewritten as 4 minus 3 sine of pi thirds times x minus 9. Just think about it. You have to divide this by pi over 3 to find out what stays there, and it'll be 9. Okay? And so now I can see all of my different things. This is my vertical shift. This is my amplitude, or has to do with my amplitude. This is my phase shift, or my horizontal shift. And this is my b, which relates to 2 pi over the period. B equals, or the period equals 2 pi over b, which means the period is 2 pi divided by pi over 3. Flip and multiply. Those pi's will cancel and you'll just get 6. So my period is 6. Okay? So to find the period, now here's what I do to make my intervals. One of the hard things for most people is making their intervals. So what I do is just try to make it as simple as possible. I'm going to go from 0 to 6. All right? Cut it in half. What's half of 6? 3. What's half of 3? 1.5. So this would be 4.5. That's how I do that. But now we have to shift it. Our horizontal shift over here is 9 to the left. So now we're going to, 9 to the right. That's right. So now we're going to add 9 to everything. Just to add 9 to everything. Again, there's maybe if you do it enough, you'll figure out better ways to do it, but that's how I do it. So this is just going to be 9. That's going to be 10.5. That's going to be 12. That's going to be 13.5. And then that's going to be 15. And now you can erase that stuff. So you got your values in there, or you can just kind of leave it in there and write it lightly so that you know what you did and how you did it. And now we will move, we'll determine where the the x-axis is. So it's going to be, really it's going to be way over here. Or sorry, the y-axis is going to be way over here. That's why I wait to draw the y-axis in until I know where I'm starting everything. And then we also are going to move it up 4. I'll do this in blue so you can see the vertical stuff. So you're going to move it up 4. So you're going to be starting, we'll call that 4. That line, y equals 4, is going to be your center line. And it's going to go 3 up from there and 3 down from there. You call it a midline, okay? So this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 3 up from there would be what, 7? Okay, so I even like to kind of draw in a little, like a light line, so that I can see all those things of what I'm doing. Let me erase this here.
Wait, can I like?
So I'm drawing kind of a light line there.
Can I label the x-axis like as 4?
Well, what you could have done, because we saw that the period was 3. I'm sorry, the period was 6, but there was a shift of 9. You really could have just shifted everything over a little bit. You didn't have to start all the way over here. You could have started. The period is 6, so you also, even though you were shifting at 9, you can also move everything over 6 to the left because it's going to repeat every 6. So you could have changed all these things if you wanted to, subtracting 6 from them all. Because it's going to repeat every 6 it's going to repeat, so it's going to keep repeating. So you could have just done that. You know what I'm saying? You could have called this, see if I'm thinking of that right. Subtract 6 from everything. That'd be 3, 4.5, 6. Yeah, that would have worked because that gets you back to the 9 there. You follow?
Yeah.
So this is 7.5. So you actually could have done that. You didn't have to go 9, 10.5, 12, 13.5, 15. You could have gone 3, right? And that one's closer to your y-axis. But now let me show you how I do this. Now that I've done that, the trick here is to realize that there was a negative and it's a sine graph. So it's going to start here. It's going to start on the midline. It's going to end on the midline. It's going to go through the middle on the midline. But since it's a negative, it doesn't start going up. It starts by going down. So it's going to go there, and it's going to go there. And that's why I draw those other lines in there to help me see what that is. So your graph will be like this. And then it'll continue like that, and that's why this was 9, 10.5, because there's your 9. So it just continues that way. And it's going to even continue this way. All right? So that's one, that is one period of your sine graph, and that's what this particular problem asked you to do, is just to draw one period. You could have drawn any one of the periods. You could have drawn one back here, there, but the best way in my mind to do it is just to always do it consistently, like I showed you at the beginning, using all those different values, the A, B, actually this is D, right? That's your A, that's your B, that's your C. You have to divide out the B first before you find your C, and then that's your D right there. Usually the equations say y equals A sine B x minus C plus D. That's the most popular way of writing it, and that's the way that makes the most sense to me.